What if a few simple changes to the way you get your work done could save you hours of time every month and help you be more productive at the office? Hi everyone, my name is Brian Riley and I'm from a technology training company called Liftoff. In this video, you'll learn how to use Microsoft 365 Webmail like a pro. Beyond just sending and receiving emails, you'll understand how to effectively use categories, flags, pins, and rules, among many other features, to save time, increase your productivity, and well, look like a rock star to your boss. Now, let's head over to the computer and look at my top 13 pro tips for using Microsoft 365 Webmail. Okay, let's get started. First, it's important to understand how to log into Microsoft 365 Webmail. You can use any browser for this. I like Brave, but you can use Chrome or Firefox or Safari or really whatever you like. Head over to outlook.office365.com. Now, if your organization is in the GCC High, this URL is slightly different, outlook.office365.us. Here, enter your username, which is usually just the same as your regular email address, and then your password. Next, to protect against the bad guys trying to break into your account, your friends in IT have likely secured your identity with multi-factor authentication, or MFA. If you haven't registered your preferred MFA methods, do this now. The Microsoft Authenticator app is the safest and easiest way of doing MFA. That said, your IT team may guide you on alternate MFA methods such as text messaging, phone calls, or even third-party MFA methods such as Duo or hardware tokens. I'll go ahead and put in my number matching into my Authenticator app and I should be good to go. And now I'm in my inbox. Tip number 2 is all about understanding the navigation in Microsoft 365 Webmail. Along the left side vertical navigation, note the email icon along with my calendar icon, my contact icon, and also all of the other apps that I'm licensed for. The waffle icon here, some of us call it the Rubik's Cube, is the app launcher. From here, you can get to all of the other apps that you may or may not be licensed for. So for example, if you're licensed for a OneDrive and SharePoint, you'll see those here. And then also notice you have the web version of various Microsoft Office apps here as well, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. You'll likely spend most of your time in Mail, so let's talk about this for a second. So you'll see all of your subfolders here under the inbox and then all your typical Exchange folders here along the left side as well. So notice I have a couple of subfolders here. If I want to create a new one, I can just right-click the inbox and then create a new subfolder. Let's call this one Microsoft Alerts. Now, all I have to do is just drag and drop emails into that subfolder. So I'll grab a couple of alerts here. Creating a new email is simple. Just click here, and then notice you can create your email here in the preview pane, or if you want a few more options for formatting, you can click this open in a new window icon, and then you have more options in terms of how you format your emails. Another common thing is shared mailboxes. You might be someone that has access to a mailbox or a calendar that's shared among several staff members. Or maybe there's an old employee that's been offboarded and you have access to their mailbox because they have some old mail that you check from time to time. So if you're a member of a shared mailbox, the way that you can add the shared mailbox is here. If I right-click my email address or username, I can add a shared folder or mailbox. And then you type in the name or the email address of the shared mailbox. I have one called Old Employee. Let's see if it's here. There it is. I'll go ahead and click it and then continue. And then I'll just close this little preview here. And then notice now I have a second inbox down here. So here's my main inbox. And here's my new account. It's called Old Employee. Now, if you try to do this for a mailbox that you don't have permission to, it'll just fail. So I have permission to Old Employee shared mailbox here. And here's the inbox. and I can send and receive emails sent to this email address. So that's pretty cool. And then lastly, there's something called Microsoft 365 groups. So your IT friends may have created and leveraged a really cool thing called Microsoft 365 groups. So these are shared mailboxes, shared calendars, and a SharePoint site that a department or a group of people can access from time to time if they want to. So if your IT team has created a Microsoft 365 group for your team, your department, or maybe a project that you're working on, as soon as they add you as a member, that Microsoft 365 group will appear here. So if I go to my group, you'll see now that I have an information technology team that I'm a part of. This is again, a Microsoft 365 group. I've got my inbox here. I've got my SharePoint files for my Microsoft 365 group here. And then I also have a shared calendar that myself and my teammates for this Microsoft 365 group can leverage. This is a really neat thing in Microsoft 365. Next up is customizing your webmail view to your comfort level. There are two webmail features enabled by default that are almost universally despised by most clients I've worked with. I'm talking about the focused inbox and conversation view. So here in Webmail, notice that I've got a focused inbox here, but I also have an other inbox. So what is this? Well, Microsoft is using machine learning to try to understand what emails are important to you. The important emails are put in the focused inbox, and then other emails, such as maybe security alerts or maybe newsletters, go to this other inbox. The only problem is sometimes Microsoft is wrong. They're moving things that are critically important to me into my other mailbox, and maybe some spammy things that I don't necessarily want to see come into focused. So sometimes it can be wrong. And a lot of staff members that you work with might feel like they're missing email because they don't know to click on the other inbox or click on focused. So I'm going to show you how to turn this off in just a second. The other thing is conversation view. So if you notice here on this email, it's a newsletter here. It's watch out for hackers. But there's this little caret icon here. If I click this and expand it, you're going to see that I've got a threaded view of the conversation that happened surrounding this newsletter. So there's a couple replies back and forth here for this one. So I can see where some people might like this, but in general, people like to see their inbox with each message on its own line. Again, some staff members that you work with might feel like they're missing emails if they forget to expand that little icon over there. So let me show you where to go to turn these two off. I'm going to click on the gear icon here. And then first up, we've got focused inbox. I'm going to go ahead and choose don't sort my messages. And then down a little bit here, message organization. How do you want your message list to be organized? I want to choose do not group my messages. Okay. I'll go ahead and click save. And if I close that, now I've got my regular inbox, no focused inbox, and I also have expanded my email so that each one appears on its own line. Moving back to the gear icon, I can also configure other settings. So here in the layout submenu, I can do some other things like adjust my text size and spacing if I want to. If I want to turn off the reading pane, I can do that. For me, I love the reading pane, and I like having the message previews on the right side. But if you prefer to have your preview on the bottom or to fill the whole screen, you can change that here as well. Under Compose and Reply, you can actually change the font, the size, and the style of the text that you're typing in your emails and replies. So that's kind of nice as well. Moving to the account option, I can do several things, such as setting an automatic reply for my out of office and establishing a signature for my new emails and replies. So first, if I click on automatic replies, if I'm planning on being out of the office or maybe going on vacation, I want to make sure to alert anyone that's sending me an email that I'm actually not going to be receiving that email for a while. I'll turn on automatic replies here. You can specify a date range if you want, or you can just leave it on and then turn it off when you're back in the office. I already have an example here, and this is an internal automatic reply, but I also want to make sure I do this for external senders as well. So be sure to check that. Go ahead and save that. Next up, I want to make my signature so that people know how to contact me when I send my emails. I'm going to go ahead and click on New Signature. Give this a name. I've already got a little signature ready to go. I'll click Save. And then I want to be sure to actually activate this signature for new messages and replies. So if I drop this down, I can choose Signature. And for replies, same thing. You can choose different signatures for your replies if you like. It's up to you. I'll go ahead and click Save on that one. Next up, I want to move down to General. Here, I can do a couple things as well. I can adjust my language and time zone here. So if I want to have my email in a different language, I can choose something other than English. My date format, this is the format that I like, so I'm not going to change it. And the time format looks good to me, but you can change this to whatever you prefer. Next, I'll click on Appearance. You can choose a light or dark mode if you want to. I want to talk about these themes here because I like themes. So if I drop down these classic themes here, there's some pretty interesting themes that you can choose. I'm going to go ahead and choose this robot theme, and I'll click Save. And I should be good to go. And I have my robot theme up here, so you can choose whatever you like. The next tip will help you stay on top of important emails with deadlines. Let's talk about pins and flags for a moment. So again, we're here in my inbox, and I'm just scanning some of these things, and I see that one of these is pretty important, and I'm not going to be able to deal with it right now. So I want to make sure that I remember to do something about it later. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this email to training email here. And I want to pin this. So I have a little pin here. I'm going to go ahead and click this and watch what happens. This is really, really cool. So no matter how many emails come in and start occupying all the space in my inbox, this email is going to stay pinned to the top of my inbox. There's no way I'm going to miss that. It's going to be up there for me to deal with when I have time. And then kind of related to this is a flag. So if you see here, I'm on the same email. There's a little flag here. This is just kind of a follow-up flag. It's a little reminder to get something done. So if I flag this, and if I right-click it, I can actually choose a deadline when I want to deal with this email. So let's say I'm going to deal with this tomorrow. Okay. So now when I click into this, you're going to see that I've got my pinned email here, and it's flagged. So it's going to be a reminder to me to complete the task in this email by tomorrow. Now we're going to pivot a bit from the basics to actually how you can be more productive in Microsoft 365 Webmail. The next tip I'm going to share is going to put you on the path to that mystical place called zero inbox. So this is my test inbox here, my test account in our Liftoff training tenant. But in my normal inbox, I have about 36,000 messages. I've got tons of subfolders under my inbox. You can see I've created a couple here in this training tenant. Not very many at all, but some of these are nested. So I bet some of you have crazy inboxes, gigs and gigs of email, dozens, maybe hundreds of subfolders. And when you go to search for something, it's really hard to find things. You don't know where you've filed things. So this first thing I'm going to talk about is utilizing the archive folder in Webmail to stay a little bit more organized. My colleague Tom told me about this archive folder a few years ago. He uses it, and he actually has a zero inbox. So he's got no emails in his regular inbox. Everything that he deals with, he puts in his archive. He's not deleting anything. He still has it. He can still search for it, but everything's moved to his archive, and there's nothing in his inbox. So when something comes in, he deals with it, and then when he's done with it, he moves it to the archive. So it's a really nice strategy to stay organized here. So how do you use this archive? Well, it's pretty darn easy. You can see it's here. It's going to be in regular Outlook and in Webmail. So if I want to archive this email, and I'm not going to choose that one, that's the red flags, I'm dealing with that tomorrow. but maybe I'll choose this information technology group email that I got. All I have to do is come in here, and if I right click it, I can choose archive. And then this automatically moves down to my archive. Let's do a couple more. Here's one. How about this Microsoft Security Digest? I'm going to go ahead and right click it and then choose archive. So as you can see, we're starting to clear out our inbox. We're starting to move things around into this archive folder. It's essentially going to be one folder that contains all of your email that you've dealt with. I know what some of you are thinking about that last productivity tip. There's no way moving all my emails into a single archive folder is going to work for me. Well, the next tip is going to work hand in hand with that archiving tip and help you to feel better about all of this. Let's talk about categories in Microsoft 365. Categories are essentially labels that you can apply to emails so you can stay organized and easily track your messages related to a subject, person, task, or an event. Let me show you how to get started with categories. First, I'm going to click on that gear icon here and then go to account. From here, I'll click on categories. And then notice I've got some pre-created color categories that Microsoft has provided for me. I can create some new ones if I want, but I think I'm just going to edit these here. So I'll go ahead and click on this first blue category. And I'll change the name to, how about follow-up? I'll save that one. And then for this one, how about newsletters? I get a lot of newsletters, so it'd be nice to kind of label those or categorize those. For the orange category, I'll go ahead and change this one to Microsoft Alerts. I get a lot of Microsoft alerts and other emails from them, so I'll go ahead and save that. And then finally, the purple category, I'll just call this one Project Eagle. Project Eagle is a project that I'm working on with a couple of colleagues here at Liftoff. I'll go ahead and save that. Now what's really nice here is that although I have the categories already created, the only way to really get to those is kind of right-clicking an email and then applying that. I'll show you that in just a second. But here in Webmail, I can actually star this to add these to my favorites area of Webmail. So I've just favorited those 4 that I created, and let's see what we've got. Well, check this out. Under favorites over here, I've got my inbox, a couple other folders, but now I have my 4 new categories. So how do I apply these categories to my email? Well, it's pretty easy. So I've got my email here that I've flagged for follow-up by tomorrow. So this really should be in my follow-up categories. So I'll go ahead and click it. And what I can do is just right-click it and come down to categorize and then follow-up. And I've got an email here. This is Project Eagle. So I'll go ahead and right-click Project Eagle, categorize Project Eagle. You get the idea, right? I'll do one more here. I've got a newsletter here. I'm going to right-click this one and categorize it for the newsletter. Well, I'll do one more just because I do have that Microsoft category that I've created. So here's an email from Microsoft. I'll go ahead and right-click that one, categorize Microsoft Alerts. So now, suddenly I have labels on these emails, and it makes them really, really easy to find no matter what folder that they're in. I'm now going to archive those emails. Right-click archive, and again, you get the idea here. If I come down to my archive, all of those emails that I've archived are here, but notice I've got my categories here. So where else can I see these? Well, if I want a quick view of everything I need to follow up on, I can just click this follow-up category here. There's that email that's due tomorrow. Here's my Microsoft alert. Here's my newsletter. Here's my sensitive email from Project Eagle. So this is all pretty great. This is all going to help me stay organized. So now what I'm thinking is I want to categorize all of my emails and then I want to archive. This is going to help me get to 0 inbox here. Looking at my inbox causes me to feel a mix of fear, frustration, and a sense that I'm the most disorganized person at my company. Among the dozens of new emails that usually come in every hour, I might have a few newsletters, a new client inquiry, maybe a message from my boss asking about a deadline, and finally, maybe a spam email about buying some creatine gummies or something like that. How can I easily flag the important emails from the others? Well, let me show you something called conditional formatting. This tool can help you highlight certain emails based on a condition that you choose. If we look at my inbox, notice this email here from Microsoft Security. This is an email that I received this morning letting me know that Ron has been promoted to the global administrator role in our test tenant here. This is a pretty important email, and I'd like to easily pick this email out with a quick glance of my inbox. With the email highlighted, if I hover over the email address here, I can click copy. We're going to use this to create our rule here. Close this up, and now gear icon, the mail menu, and then conditional formatting. Add a rule. Let's name our rule here, and we'll call it MS Alert Email Flag. The condition is going to be when the email comes in from this email address. This is the email address that I copied earlier. You can put in other conditions if you want. I'm simply going to just change the font color of these emails. So I'm going to make this red and then choose OK. And then if I click save and then close this, I can take a look at what we have. So notice that the subject of this email has now been colored red. And then I also have some other Microsoft Security emails that have been colored red as well. Emails keep arriving in your inbox whether you want them or not, or whether they need to be dealt with immediately, or if they can perhaps be pushed off to a later date. This is where the snooze feature of Microsoft 365 Webmail comes in and can be really helpful for you. Snooze temporarily hides an email and then redelivers it at a future time that you choose. Here's an email in my inbox for a conference that I may want to attend. I can tell from the subject line that the registration isn't due until December, and it's only September now, so I actually have a few months to figure out if I can actually attend this conference. All I have to do here is right-click this email and then choose the snooze option. From here, I can choose to have the email redelivered at a certain date. I'll go ahead and choose a date. And how about a week before the registration deadline? So I'll choose November 24th. And then choose save. So where is that email? It's disappeared from my inbox. That's good. But where is it? Well, over here you'll notice I now have a snoozed folder. So if I click into snoozed, guess what? I can see this email that I've now snoozed until November 24th. So on the morning of November 24th, this email is going to be redelivered to my inbox. Now let's say that I've made a mistake, or if I want to unsnooze this, I just want it to be in my inbox so I can deal with it now. Well, I can unsnooze this by just moving this email back to the inbox. Pretty simple. There it is. Snoozing email can keep your inbox neat, reduce distractions, and get you closer to the elusive inbox zero. Do you send the same email over and over again, day after day? Do you frequently need to search your sent items for that email that you sent a few months ago that you know would be a perfect reply to an email that you received today? Wouldn't it be great if there was a way to easily access the text that you use in your daily emails? Email templates in Microsoft 365 allow you to save canned responses as text blocks and then access them anytime you need on any device that you're using. For example, maybe you send out a regular email to your team summarizing a weekly meeting. Or maybe your job requires you to respond to a member of the public with a canned response that is almost the same every time you send it. For me, I respond to prospective client emails with a short bio of liftoff and an offer to set up a phone call. Let me show you how to save time with email templates. Here we are in my inbox. This email here looks like it's from someone that might want to work with us. I get these from time to time, and I have a standard email response that I've sent out many times, introducing liftoff and offering to set up a first meeting. Instead of searching my sent items for the response that I typically send out, I can use email templates. To get started, you need to add the template as an app to your webmail. Click on My Apps over here, and then add an app, and then choose My Templates. Now, you may already have My Templates added as an add-in to your webmail. If not, add it here and then click Open. Now I can set up an email template inside of a new email or reply. Here's my prospect email from earlier that I'd like to reply to. I'll go ahead and hit reply here and then pop this out into its own window. Okay. Now, if I click this icon here, this is the Outlook app icon. I now have My Templates as an option. I'll click that. And notice Microsoft has a few replies here or a few templates that I can use. I can edit these if I want to, or I can create my own. That's what I want to do here. Go ahead and create this one, and I'll give it a name, Prospect Reply. I have some text that I'll copy in. It's ready to go. You probably have your own text for these types of templates. Go ahead and paste that in. Now, one really cool thing here is that I can actually add formatting to my templates. So notice that I've got some highlights here. I've got some red bold text in my template. So that's really nice as well. To get this, you actually create your canned text inside of another email or in Word, any Office app, and then you can paste it right in here into this template. I'll go ahead and hit save. And then I'm going to close this up and start from scratch. Let's close this up. And I'll delete this. Let's go ahead and do this from the top here so you can get it. Reply, expand the window. I'm going to click on the Outlook apps, My Templates. Here's my new prospect reply template. I'll go ahead and click that. And there we go. I've got my canned email ready to go. I can enter in the prospect name. I can make any other adjustments that I want to this email and then hit send. I am good to go with templates. Next up is one of my favorite tips to be more efficient and stay organized. I'm talking about Outlook rules. There's definitely an upfront time investment that you'll need to make, but once you set up some email rules, the time you spend in your inbox will be magically reduced. Example rules could include flagging important emails from your manager, or perhaps categorizing newsletters that you receive and then archiving them automatically. Still another could identify a project email based on the subject or body, categorize it, and then archive. Rules that you could create to make your life easier are endless. Let me show you how email rules can make your life a little bit easier in your inbox. First, let me point out a few emails that I have in my own inbox here. I've got some emails from a higher up at our company, Colin Flanagan. I'd like to be able to flag these so I can easily identify these in the future. I also have some newsletters here, and I've got a bunch of Microsoft alerts in here. So I do have an opportunity to create some rules to automatically clean up and flag some of these emails. I'm going to go ahead and click the gear icon here, and then I'm going to choose rules here from the mail menu. Now I'm going to add a new rule. Let's call this first rule from Colin. Colin's, again, a higher up at our company, and I want to flag his emails so I can easily identify them. I'm going to add a condition, and I'm going to choose from in this case. And the from is going to be from Colin Flanagan. There he is. For the action, I'd like to do a couple things here. First, I want to categorize Colin's email. Let me go ahead and do that. I have a category from Colin that I created earlier. And then after I do that, I'm going to add another action. I'd like to archive the email. So I'm going to move it to the archive. I could actually run the rule now if I want to, or save it, and future emails will be affected by this rule. I'm going to go ahead and run this rule now and then save. Okay, if I close this up, now I can see that this rule is actually running. I can see my emails from Colin have disappeared here. Let me check my category from Colin. Oh, there they are. Also, let me check the archive just to be sure that they're in here. And there they are. So the rule actually worked. This automatically cleaned up my inbox. Let's make another rule. I'll go back to the gear icon, rules. I'm going to add a new rule here. And how about newsletters? I want to categorize my newsletters and then archive them and clear them out of my inbox. So how can I do that? They come from different senders, so I can't use that from control here. But what about subject or body includes? I know that all of my newsletters include the word unsubscribe. I'm going to go ahead and try that. Let's see if this works. So any email that comes in with a subject or body that includes the word unsubscribe, again, I'm going to categorize. I have my newsletter category. Another action, move to archive. Let's run this rule now as well. Okay, my inbox is looking a little thinner here. Let's check the newsletter category. My inbox is starting to look pretty good. I do have a ton more emails from Microsoft here, Microsoft Security. If I click into one of those, these are all coming from the same email address, mssecurity-noreply@microsoft.com. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. Let's create a rule for this one. Back to the gear icon, rules. I'm going to add a new rule. Let's call this one Microsoft. My condition is going to be from that Microsoft email address. And my action is going to be categorize. I do have a category for Microsoft Alerts. Another action, you get the idea. We're going to move this to the archive and clear it out of our inbox. Let's run this rule now as well. Now, I didn't mention this earlier with the other two rules, but stop processing more rules. We're basically saying, hey, apply this rule and then don't run any other rules that might be in conflict with this one. Go ahead and save that. Now we've got some major processing happening here. Let's check our Microsoft Alerts category. Yes, this is looking really good. If I go to my archive, lots of these old Microsoft Security emails are now going to the archive. My inbox is starting to look pretty good here. What kind of rules could you add to your webmail to make your life easier? The next tip is all about you being a powerful last line of defense against the bad guys trying to steal your information, or worse, stealing your organization's money. No technology can stop every single phishing email into your inbox. Cyber criminals are just too darn smart and can get these emails by our security barriers that we've put in place. You need to learn how to identify these suspicious emails and stop a potential attack before it even gets started. Here are some tips. Moving back to my inbox now, you can see it's really clean after running all of these rules. So now I'm just left with a few things here. This first one is just sort of a mock-up spam message that I sent to myself. So it's got the word spam in it. Hopefully you can recognize that. But what I wanted to show you with this is that there's this report option here. So I can actually report this email to Microsoft and our security team that this email is either spam or phishing. So if I drop that down, I can report this as a junk email. I'll go ahead and do that. It clears right out of my inbox. So now I've got this new email here from my finance department, or at least the in-loop account department. I don't really know what this is. It looks kind of suspicious. I can see that there is a link here. I can see that it's asking for an expense report, or that an expense report has been shared with me. I'm not really sure what this is. I wasn't expecting an expense report to be shared with me. I don't know what this is. I can see that some content in this message has been blocked because the sender isn't in my safe senders list. There's some weird language here. Let me know if you'd like to review it together. Thanks. This link, work for B. Riley at liftoftraining.onmicrosoft.com. The English looks a little bad here. It's a misspelling here or a grammatical mistake. So I'm pretty suspicious of this email. Never, ever click an email like this or click any links in an email like this. You probably know that by now, but it's worth saying that again, right? So if you suspect that an email is a phishing email, we can report this to Microsoft and again, our security team. I'll go ahead and drop this report button down, and this time I'm going to actually report this as a phishing email. The email is reported as a phishing scam to Microsoft and our security team, and I should be good to go. Remember, you could be the last line of defense against the bad guys trying to steal your information. Okay, home stretch, almost there. Moving farther down the productivity path, let's talk about getting things done, or GTD. Have you ever heard of this? Author David Allen came up with this method for unlocking a person's productivity and creativity. A core principle of GTD is the 2-minute rule. If an email can be resolved within 2 minutes, take care of it right then and there. For anything you believe will be longer than 2 minutes, use other strategies to clear these emails out of your inbox so you can deal with them later. For example, you can use the follow-up category we discussed earlier, or you could even flag your email. There's also another powerful tool baked right into your Microsoft 365 account. It's called To Do. Looking back at my inbox, let's see if we can apply GTD in practice. I've got some new emails here. I want to see if I can deal with them within 2 minutes each, or if I need to deal with them later. So this first email here, working from the bottom up, is from Amazon. This is just a notification that my package was shipped. I don't really need to do anything with this, but I'll go ahead and archive this one. Next up is this email from iFit. This is an old fitness account that I used to have. I don't really care about this one at all, so I'm just going to delete this one. I don't even want to archive this. Now we have a newsletter. This is a newsletter that I get from ZDNet. So you know what to do with newsletters, right? I'm going to categorize with the newsletter category and then archive. Perfect. Now we have another conference registration. I'm pretty popular with these conferences, I guess. Register for the conference by December. Well, it's, again, only September. I don't have to deal with this now, so I'm going to right-click this and snooze this for, I don't know. Let's just go with, we'll pick a different date this time, October 14th. So that's gone. Now we have one more left, and it's Project Eagle. Okay, Project Eagle, sent with high importance. Looks like I'm late with some reports, and they're needed by this Friday. Now, I haven't started on this. I'm late with these reports. I need some time to think about this. So what do I do? Well, a couple things. So there's something called To Do in Microsoft. So what is To Do? To Do is a task management application that's baked right into Microsoft 365, okay? So over here, I can get to the main To Do menu here. Let me show you some tasks. And you can see I've got some old to-dos here. If I go back to my inbox and if I come over here and open up my calendar for the day, I also have to-do over here. One thing I can do is drag and drop this email over and make it an event or a task. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one a task. I can edit this. So let's see. Project Eagle, TPS reports. Let me just change this. TPS reports. Do. And this is pretty nice. If I click on this email option here, it's going to take me right back to the email that this task references. So that's a pretty cool thing there. I'm going to go ahead and close that up. Now I've got my task. I'll go ahead and close this. Now what I can do is categorize this. And remember, I have my Project Eagle category. And then I'm going to archive. Now, if I move over to the To-Do main menu here, you're going to see that I've got a Project Eagle TPS reports due task here. If I click into this, I can add in due dates and other steps that I might need. And you can see actually the email that this references is here as well. So this is a really nice kind of simple task management solution that you can use right inside of Microsoft 365. One other thing about tasks and To-Do is I can also just flag this. Remember flags from earlier in our tutorial here today. If I flag this and move over to To-Do, I have a flagged email option over here on the left side. If I click that, you're going to see now that I've got my flagged email set as a task here in To-Do as well. So that's a pretty nice feature. Okay, this last tip is going to be controversial. Only check email during scheduled blocks of time during the day. That's right, I said it. Only check email during scheduled blocks of time during the day, not all day long. How many times have you been working hard on a task or a project, or maybe deep in thought about a resolution to a challenge you're having, only to be interrupted by an annoying email chime and a pop-in preview of the message? The next thing you know, you're off in the chaos of your inbox, responding to this email and probably many others, and you've lost an hour. Checking your email should be a deliberate decision, not an automatic reaction. How about creating a system where you only check emails maybe 3 or 4 times a day in 30-minute blocks? Using the strategies we covered earlier, you can quickly scan and categorize emails, sort urgent messages from non-urgent, visually highlight emails from your manager or key clients, check your categories, and even use to-do tasks to stay organized. If this sounds interesting, here's what you can do. First, if I click this bell in the upper right of the Webmail client, this is my notifications. If I click the gear icon, I'm taken to General Notifications. I can turn off the notifications in Outlook. I'm no longer going to get the chime and the email pop-in preview. I'll go ahead and save that. Next, I'm going to create scheduled blocks of time on my calendar where I'm processing email. If I go to my calendar, I've already got these created, but you can take a look at them here. I'm checking my email 3 times a day. So I've got a 30-minute block in the morning, right around lunchtime, and before I leave in the evening. Now, this system might not work for you. Maybe you need 3 or 4 or 5 blocks of time where you need to check your email. This seems to work for me. So let's pretend that it's actually time to check my email. I'm going to go back to my inbox. I can look at all my categories here. I've got my follow-up category. I've got all my Microsoft alerts, newsletters, etc. I've got my archive down here if I wanted to look at anything there. I've got my to-do tasks here that I can cover. We've been working hard on my inbox, so I've only got 3 messages left now. If I click this first one, I know that this is just a notification that someone has shared a folder with me. I'm going to right-click and archive this one. This next one doesn't really matter. Again, I'm going to right-click it and archive. Now I'm finally down to my last message in my email. And it's a little silly here. This is from myself, but it really, really feels good when you have your inbox cleared out and everything is organized and taken care of. So I'm going to archive this and I'm going to get to inbox 0 and feel like this guy right here. There it is, the elusive inbox 0. I finally got there. Mastering these webmail tips will boost your productivity, make you more focused, and reduce your stress level. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.